Hello, everyone, and welcome to Decoding the WSL, the podcast dedicated to the stats and facts in the WSL. I'm your stand-in host for the day. I'm Tom. You may remember me from multiple podcasts in the past. Your beloved host, Sam Vicarino, is enjoying a well-earned break today, so he won't be with us, but I promise you he'll be back next week. We do have some very able deputies in here for Sam. It won't just be me talking today, listener. At home, you've got a TV aerial on top of your house. You've got an aerial font on your laptop, and now you've got an aerial fancy expert in your ears. Izzy Duddy, how are you today?
That was actually quite incredible, Tom. Thank you so much. We might have to pinch that one for our next marketing campaign.
You have my consent.
If you'd like a job, yeah, that's brilliant. Well, what do I say to that? I'm great, thank you. Even better for hearing your little spiel there. That was great, Tom. Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, Jacob, don't feel left out because I got one for you too. He's white, he's navy, he sends the Bernsteins crazy. It's the WSL and Tottenham analyst of the stars, Jacob Bernstein. How are you today?
Oh, thank you very much. I was waiting to hear what my introduction would be, but that feels worthy. I am all good, thank you. Looking forward to discussing the WSL after a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, it's been a little while, hasn't it? It's been a little while. Good international breaks, both of you?
Yes, very international and lots of breaks, so that was lovely.
International with the side of break,
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, so we'll get straight into it. First things first about the Football Manager 26 giveaway. Congratulations to our Football Manager 2026 Instagram giveaway winner, Lucas. Congratulations, Lucas. Football Manager 26 has the women's game included for the first time ever, and it's due to be released on the 4th of November with the early access beta available since the 23rd of October. We had a call out for hearing your saves recently, all of your listener saves, and there were some brilliant ones. I particularly enjoyed this one from IceDep 1130. I will manage Barca in FM 26 and will eat Ballon d'Ors like apples. So I enjoyed that one. Thank you, IceDep, for sharing that one. And Sam also sent us over a little quick insight into what his first save has been. He said, I've taken charge at Arsenal Women as they're the team I've been working on as a researcher. I'm in mid-November, and the only change I've made to the squad is sending Niswanger out on loan. No transfers have come in yet, but Julie Bokstad and Sophia Wilson-Smith are joining the club in January. After 3 games in the UEFA Women's Champions League, we're 4th place on 6 points after winning either side of a 4-1 loss to Barcelona. In the WSL, we're 2nd after 9 games, level on points with Brighton, but with a game in hand. We only got points in a 3-3 draw against Villa and a 5-2 loss against Chelsea. Sam, my God, I'm surprised you lasted through that one. No graffiti on the walls outside the Emirates after that, I'd imagine. The Chelsea game was Borb's debut after filling in for an injured Daphne Van Domselaar, highlight of the season so far. 6-2 win away at United, but it was also great to see Victoria Pelova win the WSL Player of the Month for October. So, fantastic, Sam. Make sure, once you have the game, to tell us all about your WSL saves as well. Really interested to see them. So let's get into the previewing Game Week 7 action this week in the WSL. Okay, so we're going to start off at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea versus London City Lionesses, the Saturday kickoff. Last time these two faced each other was in the FA Cup in 2021. Jacob, can you tell me who scored a brace in this game?
I have no idea.
Now of your parish, Jacob?
Beth England.
To be fair, the other one, Drew Spence.
Oh.
Sorry, that would have been the obvious answer. But yeah, Drew Spence, Melanie Leopold got a goal. Jess Carter, Niamh Charles also got one. London City Lionesses and Chelsea have both won 3 of their last 4 matches in the WSL. It's interesting. Grace Gayoro obviously signed for London City Lionesses. She was constantly seemed to be linked with Chelsea over the years. Will she get a goal? It'd be interesting to see. Outside of the top four, London City Lionesses have the most expected goals of any side so far this season with 9. They've also conceded the most penalties, of course, on the negative side of things. They conceded 4 penalties. Next highest has 2. Chelsea are potentially without Hannah Hampton after she had to withdraw from the England camp with an elbow injury. Jacob, I'm going to come to you first on this one. Just on Chelsea, I wanted to talk to you specifically about Sam Kerr, actually. 750 days after her last match for the Tillies, she started in their 2-1 win for Wales. She's against Wales. She's still waiting on her first start under Sonia Bonpastor for Chelsea. Do you think that's coming?
Potentially. I listened to an interview over the international break with Aggie Beaver-Jones. It was on, I think it was like the BBC Women's Football Show. And Aggie Beaver-Jones spoke really well about kind of what she thinks her best position is. And I think she mentioned that obviously she's been doing incredibly as a 9 all-in-out striker for Chelsea at the moment. But she mentioned that maybe Bonpastor would like to play her a bit deeper, perhaps in the 10. So if we potentially see that going forward, that could open up space for Sam Kerr in the team. But if we continue to see kind of Aggie Beaver-Jones thriving for Chelsea, I can't really see Sam Kerr getting into the team like permanently. Maybe, as we know, Bonpastor likes to rotate, so maybe we'll see a bit of rotation in that Chelsea team. But I think for now, Aggie Beaver-Jones has got 4 goals for Chelsea this season. I don't think she's scored in a few, but I don't think that will knock her confidence too much. And yeah, I think Beaver-Jones is having a superb season so far.
For sure. It's interesting you mentioned with that 10 spot, because obviously Vika Kaptein is doing so well in that position as well at the moment, and she's kind of often going forward and operating as a front 2 in that side. Do you think it'll be any, like, how much of an advantage would it be for London City Lionesses if Liv Peng had to start this game and Hannah Hampton couldn't play? Would it be an advantage or?
Yeah, I think it would be a huge advantage for London City Lionesses. I think Chelsea's defence has been superb this season. They've conceded the joint least goals in the league of this season with United with 3 goals. They kept 3 clean sheets, which has got to be testament to their defence, because if you look at the underlying statistics, they've conceded 6.8 XG against them, but they've only let in 3 goals. Actually, Liverpool have had less expected goals against than Chelsea, but obviously Chelsea have only conceded 3 goals and kept those 3 clean sheets. 4 out of the 6 of the games that Chelsea have played, they've conceded more than 1 XG. So the statistics show that they really should have conceded more, but obviously their strong defence and has been resilient, and that's partially to do with Hannah Hampton. So I'll be intrigued to see whether Hannah Hampton's fit to make the game. I was very impressed with Liv Peng throughout the Euros during the summer. So I think she'll be a valuable debutant if she did have to step in.
That makes a lot of sense, Jacob. Makes a lot of sense. And Izzy, of course, we've spoken about London City Lionesses a lot. We previewed them at the start of the season. They've made quite a good start, I think. 3 wins is, I think, pretty impressive. What are the kind of expectations on them now this season after the start they made? Maybe there was some initial preseason expectations, but what do you think they'll be now within the squad, and then maybe from higher up as well?
I mean, I was, as probably anyone who listened to those previews knows, I was quite critical of the sort of City setup at the beginning of the season and sort of the turnover they had, but they have started really well. And I do think that they will be, and they should be, aiming for the sort of mid-table at least. The way things are going in the league, like with Liverpool dropping points, West Ham dropping points, that there is a gap now that they can fill. And I think they're starting to find their groove a bit. We haven't really seen that much of Grace Gayoro, like you said. So, I mean, there's still time for her to come in and make that huge impact. So I will eat my words and say I've been really impressed. And I think, you know, knowing the sort of personalities in that team and obviously the expectations coming from the top as well, I don't think they'll be settling for anything, and they'll be pushing. And yeah, I do actually think if it wasn't for the fact this was a Chelsea game, I'd have pinned them to possibly win this game. I think it will be difficult, obviously, against Chelsea at Chelsea, but I do think with the kind of form they're on and the players they have, like, I want to see them get a goal in this match because I really do think that they can.
How do you see them setting up, Izzy? Do you think they'll go really, really defensive, try and be solid, or will they kind of be a bit more adventurous, do you think?
I personally think, you know, they've got the attackers in that team, right? And sometimes the best defense is attack. And I think, you know, you can be defensive against Chelsea, but at the end of the day, I think defense is their obviously weak point. I mean, we talked about penalties conceded. They have been a bit sloppy at the back. So, you know, I think going hard on defense might not be the best strategy for them. And I think they'll want to be getting Aslani, Paris, Gauro up there and scoring goals because, you know, whether you like it or not, it seems so defeatist to say it, but it's like setting up sort of 5 against Aggie Beaver-Jones, Sam Kerr, Vika Kaptein, Kat McCurry. Like, sometimes it's just like, no, get forward and score the goal. So if I were them, that's what I'd be doing. But I'm not the London City Lionesses manager, but I think they should, because, you know, they can get past, you know, Hannah Hampton on a good day, Livia Payne, no problem. I really do think that this could be quite an interesting game.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to put you on the spot then, Izzy. What do you think, score-wise?
I'm going to go 2-1 to Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. Yeah. What do you think, Jacob? Agree?
I agree. I put 2-1 Chelsea as well. The reasoning is because I think quite a lot of Chelsea's games have been quite tightly contested. They haven't blown too many teams away. They did have a 4-0 win against West Ham, but I think apart from that, their games have been quite close. And also, London City Lionesses have scored in every game this season. I think London City Lionesses' aim for this game will be to compete, I think, because the games that they've had against the rest of the top 4 sides, they've kind of been blown away, losing kind of 4-1, 5-1. So if they can kind of compete in this game, then I think that will help them in trying to start closing the gap to the top 4. But I still see a Chelsea win in this one.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with both of you. I think 2-1 is very likely. 2-1 maybe would give Chelsea a 3-1, but never know. Okay, well, moving on to the next game, Manchester City versus West Ham at the Joy Stadium. City are the only team in the league with 5 wins in the last 5 WSL matches, just 1 point behind Chelsea now. Andre Yeglitz was awarded Manager of the Month for October. Iman Bene and Ayoba Fujino were also up for Player of the Month, but they didn't eventually win. West Ham, on the other hand, are winless in the league the entire season so far. Their records against each other: 8 wins for City, 1 draw, 1 win for West Ham in the WSL, that is. That sole West Ham win came in 2021 in a 2-0 victory. And I'm going to ask you I'm going to have a little bit of a twist on our Know Your Stat. To start and Know Your Stat, if either of you can tell me who scored West Ham's second goal in that 2-0 win in 2021, you get the right to pick the category to kick off. Any thoughts on who might have scored?
I'll go with Gilly Flaherty.
Good guess.
My mind's gone blank. Can I veto out of this question?
That's fair. I put you on the spot. That's fair. Yui Hasegawa scored.
I should have clocked the segue.
But yeah, I think Gilly Flaherty was still there, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
West Ham legend, wasn't she? In the end, last season it was 2-0 win for City with Mary Fowler and Lauren Hemp getting the goals. Team news: Grace Clinton had to leave Lionesses' contention due to injury, while Anouk Denton was called up for West Ham just today. So with that, I want to talk to you, Jacob, about Manchester City. They're a team on the up, it seems, in the last kind of 5 games, obviously 5 wins in a row. Do you see that form continuing?
I do, yes. I think I see that form continuing, especially because it's been such a poor start from West Ham, which is, I mean, City have been fantastic, obviously, with those 5 wins in a row since that opening day defeat against Chelsea. And I think City just have so much confidence. The one point of concern from City's point of view would be their defence. They haven't kept a clean sheet this season. They've conceded 8 goals, which is the same amount as Leicester. Which I think is quite concerning from their point of view. But they are coming up against a West Ham team who 6 losses out of 6, who've only scored 2 goals the whole season. So if there's any time for City to kind of get that first clean sheet, it probably would be in this game against West Ham. I think City, well, their last game was against Liverpool, and I thought City were going to absolutely blow Liverpool away. I thought it was going to be 3 or 4-0 in that game, and it ended up obviously being a lot closer, 2-1. But I just can't really see it from West Ham's point of view. I think West Ham, if there's any time to turn their season around, it's probably not this game against City, but they'll look forward. Their next 2 fixtures against Leicester and Everton at home. So I think that's kind of where they'll target. But from City's point of view, they've got such attacking prowess, and I just see them kind of running away with it.
Yeah. Izzy, do you think any differently? Do you think West Ham have any chance in this one?
Sadly not. I've reflected over the international break, and I'm going to stop being a West Ham apologist. I've given up. I don't even know why I was trying in the first place, but no, it's really hard because their defence is just not, I mean, aside from individual talent, obviously I think there is a lot of individual talent in that defence. And like you say, Anouk Denton got called up today for the England squad, which was great to see. But I just, they've been letting everything slip. They're not clicking at the back, and they're not clicking at the front either, to be honest. And when they've got talent like that on the pitch, like, I don't know where this sort of disconnect is coming from, but in their games when they've lost, sometimes you see teams have 5 losses in a row, but you see that kind of potential, you see them linking up and stuff, but I just haven't seen that from West Ham. And maybe City have a slightly shakier defence, but you've got like 5, 6, 7 potential goal scorers on that pitch for City, so I don't see a way through for West Ham unless something's really changed in the last 2 weeks when they haven't been together.
Yeah. It's a tall order, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is.
Unfortunately, so.
Jacob, I'll come to you first. Score prediction for this one?
I've gone 3-0 City. I think City are the league's top scorers with 17 goals, so I expect that trend to continue. And as I said, West Ham have only scored 2 goals all season. They've had real problems up front. So, go 3-0 City. Although, as I said, City haven't kept a clean sheet, but I am betting on them too for this game.
Of course, Kiara Keating making her debut for England as well this international break. Maybe that will give her a bit of confidence to start over Yamashita. Izzy, what do you reckon?
I went 4-0. Sad to say, I expect to see a brace from at least one City player. So I'm going to add in 2 extra goals for 2 others as well.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just trying to find out which City player that is to captain on.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not very forthcoming with that information, City, a lot of the time. Bunny Shaw, you can't really go wrong there, probably. But yeah, on to the next game. We're moving on to Sunday now. So it's Spurs versus Liverpool at Brisbane Road. Last year, this was a bit of a thriller. It was 3-2 to Spurs, one of the matches of the season. 95th minute penalty from Murray Hobinger to win it for the Reds. This time last season, Spurs have conceded 14 goals in the league. They've only conceded 7 right now at the time of recording. So a huge improvement there. For Spurs, they've had the most blocks in the league. First and second are Claire Hunt and Amanda Nilden. Most tackles in the league, Amanda Nilden. Most clearances, Claire Hunt. So they've really improved defensively. Obviously, Liverpool haven't won a game yet in the league this season, but as Jacob mentioned, a much improved performance against Manchester City last time out. Izzy, I'll come to you about Liverpool first. They were much better against City. Is this a must-win match for Gareth Taylor, or is he going to get a bit more wiggle room? And how big of a loss is Marie Hobinger with an ACL injury? I know she's a bit of a fancy favourite. What do you think?
Yeah, well, because it's also Sophie Roman Haug as well, isn't she's
Yes, of course,
now out as well. So that's sort of two of their more prolific, reliable scorers now out. Yeah, for me personally, I do think this is a must-win. I think, we're in game week 7. Obviously, it's a bit more difficult. Liverpool have clearly been through a lot, on and off the pitch, and I think that's probably undoubtedly affected how they're playing. But Gareth Taylor's a very experienced manager, and he should be able to sort of grind out wins against teams like Spurs, who I would say they're sort of competing at the same level, or at least should be on paper. So I think they need to at least get a draw from this one, but probably a win. I think Spurs are playing really well, and I think they're going to put up a real fight in this one. And I just hope that the sort of performances Liverpool have been building, and also they won their sort of 2 non-league matches as well. So 2 of the more recent ones. So perhaps that will kind of bring in a bit of confidence. They've had the break to kind of perhaps gather some sort of headspace and feelings and just like really get back into it and focus. And I do really want to see Liverpool start competing again, because we know what they can do when they're on form. And if they can stay in the game, I think it'll be an exciting match. And I'm genuinely quite hopeful that they can grind out a win. If they don't, if they lose, I do think they need to start asking questions of Gareth Taylor.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, Jacob, our resident Spurs expert, Tottenham played really well in that 1-0 defeat to Chelsea. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. The first one is there a bit of a difficulty in switching from such a defensive setup to presumably a far more attacking one in this game against Liverpool, who don't have any points yet? And what do you think a good outcome is from this game? 3 points is obviously the main thing. Is it a 3 points at all costs, or are you looking for a kind of a good performance, get a few goals as well?
Yeah, I think there are 2 good questions there. I think, yes, it might be difficult kind of going from that defensive setup to a more attacking setup. I think the way we'll kind of manage that transition is through Olivia Holt, I'm sure. Olivia Holt actually didn't start the game against Chelsea, assumingly because Martin Ho wanted a more defensive setup. But I think she's been probably one of our best players this season. And yet she's only started 3 out of 6 of the WSL games. Outside of the WSL, 2 weekends ago, she scored in the Subway Cup match against Birmingham. She scored a double. Such incredibly well taken goals, 1 chip and 1 where she rounded the goalie. And then on international break, she got an assist for Denmark in their 6-1 Nations League win against Finland. So I see Olivia Holt playing a pivotal part in the game. I think in terms of an outcome, I think a win and a clean sheet would probably be a positive outcome for Spurs. We played 3 games at home this season, won 2 of them and lost 1 against City. And in the 2 games that we won, they were quite narrow 1-0 wins against Brighton and West Ham. They were good wins because A, we got the 3 points in both of them, but B, we also kept clean sheets. And I think outside of those games against Chelsea and City, our defensive record has been pretty strong. The one thing that I was going to note in terms of potential concerns is there might potentially be some injuries in the Spurs camp. I think I will be eagerly kind of listening into Martin Ho's press conference, because Evelina Simonen went off in that game for Finland against Denmark in the Nations League. She went off at half time, potentially injured. And I also saw some rumours about Toka Koga being potentially injured. So yeah, I'm going to be listening into Martin Ho's press conference to see an update about them. Molly Bartrip was back in the squad for Spurs against Birmingham in the Subway Cup. So I think if we can start easing her into the squad, that will be a positive. But I've kind of gone optimistic and positive with my predictions. So I'll go 2-0 Spurs with that clean sheet that I said would be good.
Nice, yeah. And just note at this point, we're recording on Monday night, so before the kind of second round of fixtures in the international break. So there might have been a few injuries or something going on there, but just so people know. Izzy, tell me what you think.
I've also gone Spurs win, but I've given Liverpool the benefit of the doubt, and I've said 2-1 to Spurs.
Interesting. 2 Spurs wins. I mean, that would be the form outcome this season. Okay, so we're going to move on to another North London side, travelling up to Leicestershire at the same time on Sunday. They're going to the King Power Stadium to face Leicester. Last season, this was Jonas Eidevall's last win as Arsenal boss. Daphne van Domselaar pulled off a couple of incredible saves in this game. She herself is a doubt after she had to pull out of Netherlands duty. Olivia Smith is also potentially out with a hip pointer injury. Katie Reid had to withdraw from England camp with a small injury. Lotte Wubben-Moy is reportedly ill. And, of course, Manu Zinsberger, sadly, has an ACL injury. So quite the injury list for Arsenal. Arsenal sit 5 points off Chelsea at the top at the moment. Izzy, Arsenal got that win over Brighton last time out. It was a little bit of a tight one. After this match, they have Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Spurs, Real Madrid before the next international break. How important is it to get a win in this game, and how much are they going to be affected by those injuries?
Yeah, I was thinking about this one, and actually, this is sort of the first game where it's a must-win. I think purely because Arsenal's record with teams like Leicester is either to lose against them or, basically drop points. And I think, they're already clearly behind the top teams, both on points, but also on goal difference as well. And I think it's really important that they win, but also win by at least 2 goals. I mean, we know they've got the squad depth to do that, even with the injury list. I don't, obviously, some are more minor than others. The goalie situation, I have no idea what's going to go on there, because obviously with Manu out and Daphne a doubt, I think we're quite thin on the ground for experienced goalkeepers, at least at that level. So I think we need to really make sure that whoever does play in that defence is solid, and again attack as a form of defence. I mean, luckily or unluckily, we've had so many players in, international squads playing games, scoring goals, being part of that setup this week. So I'm hoping that the sort of fact that they'll have been with sort of high level teams, been being sort of rotated in and out, will give them sort of a good base level to kind of push on from, and so they're not too tired out. But yeah, I think this is a must win, and a must win by a few, actually. So yeah, I'm, to be honest, quite nervous for it, because I think Leicester can be a really strong team, especially at the King Power. Basically, play Kyra Cooney Cross. If you are listening, Renee, please play Kyra Cooney Cross. That is all I ask of you.
Okay, Renee, you've got your instructions from Izzy now, so you can turn off if you like now. It's an interesting point you make about the international break, and that kind of freshness that players can come back with, especially if maybe the club side's been in a bit of a funk before you've gone off, just to go away, get some fresh perspectives, maybe go home to your home country for a bit. That can really help. Jacob, do you see Leicester causing Arsenal some problems in here? They've obviously given Rick Passmore the job on a full-time basis. They're currently ninth in the table, 1 win and 2 draws. What do you reckon? They've given a few of these big teams difficult time so far this year. What do you think?
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, they had quite a close encounter with Chelsea. It was only 1-0, and in their last couple of games, they got picked up 2 draws, one against Villa and one against Everton. So I don't doubt that Leicester can compete. I just think the problem is their chance creation. I had a look through, well, their kind of goal scoring pattern throughout the season, and B, their kind of chances created in regard to XG. And they haven't created more than 0.7 XG in any game this season. They've created the least XG in the league with 2.6. They've only scored 3 goals all season. So I think that's quite concerning, especially when you're coming up against a team like Arsenal. So I think I just can't really see Leicester causing Arsenal problems in terms of goal scoring, but maybe keeping goals out, which is why I've gone for a narrow win, 1-0 Arsenal. Similar to that Brighton game, I think it will be relatively close for Arsenal just because they're not in the best of form. And I think, Leicester have got, as Izzy said, Leicester have got a good home record. They obviously had quite a strong home record last season with 5 wins, 2 draws and 4 losses. But it was a similar story last season as well. They were the second lowest goal scorers in the league. So I think, and it was Yannis Cayman who was their top goal scorer with 4 goals. So they do have talent in attack. They have a lot of attacking talent, but I know that there have been players out, such as Juta Rantala and Naomi Michon. But I think if we can get Leicester's goal scorers kind of in Leicester's attack in full flow, that would be great. But just kind of not really seeing it this season.
That's more than fair. That makes a lot of sense. Izzy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm being optimistic about it. I'm going to say 3-1 to Arsenal. Hoping we can crank out 3 goals. But I am a bit worried about Yannis Cayman. And I think, and I might be wrong, but I think Jutta Rantala played like a full 90 the other day for Leicester. Might not have been in the league, but she did play. And I feel like she was just like my fantasy gold mine 2 seasons ago, and I'm still she's just imprinted in the back of my brain, so I wouldn't be surprised if she hops on and scores a goal against whoever's our goalkeeper on Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah, that's fair. And with kind of Mouchon coming back and scoring as well, maybe those attacking fortunes might be turning around. We'll have to see. It'll be an interesting one for sure. Okay, moving on to Aston Villa versus Everton, another 12 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. That'll be at Villa Park. Everton won this fixture 2-0 last season. Fascinatingly, in the WSL, Everton have an astonishingly good record at Villa. They've never lost. They've never even drawn away at Villa. They've won every single game. They've won scoring 12 goals and conceding only 1. So really interesting kind of dynamic these two have. In terms of the away side tends to have the better of things with these two. Only 1 home win in the last 10 WSL matches between them both. Everton have the highest XG overperformer in Ornella Vignola, and Aston Villa have the highest XG underachiever in Ebony Salmon. Both have had quite good seasons, I'd still say. And both are off the back of League Cup wins. I'm not sure if you win on penalties in the League Cup group stage, but Everton and Forest drew 1-1, and Everton won on penalties, and Villa won 3-0 against Bristol City. Kirsty Hansen also won the goal of the month for her strike against West Ham. And maybe Villa just starting to find their stride a little bit, despite that disappointing draw to Leicester last time out. Izzy, what have you made of Villa's start to the season?
Yeah, I was not convinced at the start, but I like you say, Tom, I think they're finding their feet, and I think, a lot of their players got called up as well for the international break. I know Chastity Grant played the other day for the Netherlands against Poland. So I think they're really starting to find their groove. For me, especially given how poorly Everton have been playing this season, for me, this feels like it could actually turn the curse of Everton at Villa. I think Villa have a really good shout at this one if they play to the kind of standards we know they can. They've got multiple goal scorers, a pretty strong defence as well. I'd say I was really impressed, especially with like Wilms, Patton. I think Deslandes as well had a good match last time out, who's one of their new French players. So I think this could be an interesting one, because I think whoever wins, it will be quite a statement from either team. If Villa win, then this is, it feels like a sure sign that they're kind of really on the up. And for Everton, this is a chance to kind of turn things around, I guess.
Yeah, Izzy's touched on it there, Jacob, with Villa maybe on an upward trajectory. Everton seem to be a little bit passing them on the way down. They had a kind of improved performance against United, I thought, maybe at least for the first 60 minutes of that game before things kind of unraveled. And obviously that can happen when United have the players and the talent that they have available. How do you see this one going, and how do you see Everton reacting to that United result?
Yeah, I think I'd be slightly concerned from an Everton perspective because, their recent run of form has not been the best. In their last 5 after that opening day victory against Liverpool, they've lost 4 and drawn 1. They've only scored 3 goals in those 5 games post that Liverpool game. And again, their chance creation, there's only been 1 game out of those 5 where they've accumulated more than one XG. The point they got against Leicester a few weeks ago was a decent point, and they did put in some good signs against United, as you mentioned. They were obviously 1-0 up in that game, but I'd be quite concerned about Everton's home form at the start of the season. They haven't picked up a point at home all season with 3 losses, which is really disappointing because obviously now they've moved into Goodison, and I think it would just be so. It would be nice from like a neutral perspective to see Everton performing well at Goodison. I think, was it the United game where they actually played at Hill Dickinson? But even still, I think, it would be nice to see them kind of make Goodison a proper home. That's a side point because this game's away anyway. But I kind of see Villa getting a narrow win, so I've gone 2-1 Villa.
That's fair. Well, I asked you about what Everton's season was like so far, so that makes a lot of sense for that answer. Izzy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 Villa. Yeah, I actually don't know about this one. I think it's going to be quite unpredictable. I wouldn't be surprised for a surprise, but I think Villa will win either way.
Yeah, you just wonder if Everton might be looking at that, how Leicester set up to get that draw, and might try and do something similar, but we'll see. Okay. And finally this weekend, we have Brighton versus Manchester United, another 12 p.m. kickoff at Broadfield Stadium. It was 1-1 last season. Nikita Paris obviously got the leveller against her former club. Melvin Mallard remains the top scorer in the league so far with 5 goals, while no Brighton player has scored more than once in the league so far. Jess Park was the WSL Player of the Month for October, but she did withdraw from the Lionesses squad due to a concussion, so potentially a doubt for the weekend. Brighton have never beaten Manchester United in the WSL. So, Izzy, is this a first time for everything type situation, or do you don't see a way past United for Brighton?
No, I think defensively we know they're very good. They have a lot of talent in defence. Obviously with Jess Park out, she's been a standout player for them and has been creating a lot of goals. But for me, this feels like maybe it won't be as high scoring as some of United's previous matches. But at the end of the day, they know how to keep goals out. They've got who I think is personally the best keeper in the league. And I think Brighton haven't shown... They've been good and they've sort of kept up their form, I'd say, from last season, but they haven't sort of been showing anything pretty dynamic. I don't think this will be a Brighton win. I think United probably have it, but perhaps by slightly smaller margin.
Interesting. Jacob, are you thinking similarly? How do you see United approaching this game?
Yeah, I mean, United have obviously had a very positive start to the season because they've had 4 wins and 2 draws, and those 2 draws have been against Arsenal and Chelsea. So I think they've looked really strong, obviously being unbeaten. They've got the best goal difference in the league with +13, and Melvin Mallard's obviously the top goal scorer in the league with 5 goals. So I think United have looked really good. They've only conceded 3 goals all season. For some reason, I think this might be a bit closer than I would initially have kind of thought. Just kind of looking at Brighton are unbeaten at homes, and I think Brighton have won 2 and drawn 1 in their 3 home games. So I think it could be a tough one, and all 3 of Brighton's losses this season have been by a 1-goal margin. So I think it will be close, and I've actually gone for a 1-1 draw. I think United are very strong, but I just have a feeling that Brighton might nick something. They have both Michelle Adjemang and Rosa Kafaji now available because they were obviously unavailable for the Arsenal game, and it was Fran Kirby who missed the Spurs game before that. So there's been a couple of games for Brighton where they haven't had their full attack, and I think with all of the attackers available, I think they have the potential to be quite strong. So yeah, I'll go for the 1-1 draw.
Yeah, you make a good point there, Jacob. I feel were Brighton unbeaten the whole season at home last year in the WSL. I feel like they certainly went unbeaten against the top 4. But yeah, and that's, they haven't lost in the WSL at home for a long time. So it's a tall order. Izzy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob was very persuasive just then, and I've slightly changed my mind. But I was going to say 2-1 to United, but I can see the 1-1 draw now. I can see it. I can see a sort of Adjemang quadruple. Yeah, it's true. They are strong at home. Brighton are very strong at home. They've got a really good crowd behind them. I just think United are looking too good for my liking as an Arsenal fan, to be honest. They're really looking like, they know how to win a match. So I don't really see that stopping. But yeah, I think 2-1 is what I'll go for.
Sorry, I was just going to add, I've just gone back and had a look at what Brighton's home stats were for last season. They weren't unbeaten, but they did have a strong home record. They won 5, drawn 4, and lost 2. Their only losses were to City and Liverpool. So that was the 5th best home record in the WSL last season.
Not bad.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, so just before we move on to aerial fantasy, I wanted to quickly mention John Humble, who sadly passed away last week at the age of 44 after a short illness. He was part of United's kit staff for 6 years, and most recently was the women's kit lead, and then moved to Liverpool in the summer. We had a couple of really lovely moving tributes to him, and everyone at Decoding WSL sending our love and best wishes to his family at this difficult time. We'll move on to aerial fantasy next. Aerial fantasy top picks for the game week 7. Jacob, coming to you first. What do you think? Anyone?
Yeah.
In your team?
Say that again. Sorry.
Anyone you have to have in your team?
If you don't already, I think City players this week will be a kind of must-have. At home to West Ham, I think a lot of people, I'm sure, will be captaining Bunny Shaw, including myself. The other player who I'd pick, who I don't currently have, and I don't think I can find a way into my team, is Kirsten Kasperai. I know I said that City haven't kept a clean sheet yet this season, but she obviously has such attacking threat as well. So that makes her a good fancy pick. The other two players that I've got down are, again, this is maybe going against the stats, but Ebony Salmon. I know she's the biggest XG underachiever in the league, but I think she's got potential to score big, especially against Everton at home, if Villa can kind of get their shooting boots on. And then the other one from Spurs, I've done a bit of a shift in my Spurs players because I started the season with Evelina Simonon and Beth England, who probably haven't been the best fancy picks. And then I subbed them both out. I transferred them both out a couple of weeks ago, and then I'm going to get in some Spurs players this week. So I'm almost definitely going to get Olivia Holt in because I think she's extremely good value at 5.5 million. We obviously have Liverpool at home this week, so I think that's a good fixture for Olivia Holt. We play London City Lionesses next week, so there are potentially two good fixtures there to kind of get some points off Olivia Holt.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting about Ebony Salmon because it kind of depends on how much faith you have in a player, because having that XG underachievement means they're getting into those positions, right? They're doing everything right. It's just the finish. So is it just the ill balance out by the end of the season, which I tend to think with a player like Ebony Salmon, it will. Izzy, what are you thinking? Who are your kind of must-haves this week?
I would say mine are sort of, well, I think for me, in terms of a must-have, it's between Bunny Shaw and Aggie Beever-Jones. I mean, I think that's been pretty standard most of the season. I'm actually leaning towards ABJ for captaincy. I just think she looked really good in the England game the other day when she came on. She just looks like she really, really wants to score. I don't think she'll be rotated out. Knock on wood, just yet. So I do think she's still kind of a strong contender against that slightly wobbly backline of London City, to get a few in. But I think for me, and I'm nervous that I'm giving away what could be my greatest mastermind ever. But for me, this week, I think it's a really good week for visionaries. There are some really good ones in there. Vila Berman, still a visionary. She only played 47 minutes for the Netherlands against Poland, and I think she was just subbed off. I don't believe there's an injury there, but don't quote me on that. So I think she could be a really strong pick. Iman Benny for Man City, I think I would say is about as close to a must-have as I'm willing to wager a visionary on. She played for Switzerland the other day. She's looked fantastic. To be honest, I've wanted her on my team since I saw her at the Euros. But obviously she didn't start for City a lot. But now she seems to be kind of getting more into the team. I think this is a really good fixture for her. And like Jacob said, if you, like me, have Kirsten Kasper on your team, there's a very strong link up there and they're getting balls in. And I think that's going to be, we've seen that West Ham aren't that good on the wing. So I do think there could be strong potential there. So those I would say my main ones. Or as I also mentioned, Oceane Deslandes had a great game last time out for Villa, and she is also a visionary. So, and she was, I think, one of the top 10 scorers in game week 6.
Ooh.
So if you're betting on a Villa clean sheet, that could be another good one as well. But I just think like when it's like after international break and everything's like slightly unpredictable, it's actually quite a good week for the visionaries. So I'm hoping they like have their little star shining moment this week, and I'm going to try and pack my team, because I've been packing my team with the big names, and that's clearly not working because my mum's still beating me. So shout out to my mum who listens to this podcast to get tips from me and then beats me.
What a legend. I mean, that is some fantastic little inside knowledge there, Izzy. Thank you so much for that. Jacob, are you going Aggie Beever-Jones captain as well, or what are you thinking?
I don't have Aggie Beaver Jones on my team, so I don't think so. I just can't afford both Beaver Jones and Shaw in the same team. But yeah, I'll be going Bunny Shaw captain against West Ham.
Fair. Okay. I think that's two good captaincy shouts, I'd say.
What about you, Tom? Who are you captaining?
Well, I do have both in my team. I've got it on Shaw at the moment. It's probably going to stay on Shaw just because West Ham I've conceded the most and haven't scored in that many in the league yet. And Shaw I'm betting on her to get that brace, that City brace.
The one I predicted. No, it's going to Iman Benny.
She's so cheap, wasn't she? Only 4.5 million or something. She must have gone up by now, but very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, probably Shaw, but we'll see. Okay, well, moving on to the final part of the episode, know your stats. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to come to Izzy first, just because she did offer a question or an answer on that tiebreaker. So, Izzy, do you want a question about discipline, Football Manager 2026, or the FA Cup?
Oh my God. I'm not good at any of those things. Let's go for discipline. I just like the sound, the ominous sound of that round.
Okay, so there's 72 players in the WSL this season. I know it could be a long round. 72 players in the WSL this season that have got yellow cards. Name them, please.
Just yellow.
Just yellow cards. If they've had one yellow card, then they're a correct answer.
Okay, I will go for Shannon O'Brien.
Shannon O'Brien is a correct answer. Jacob?
Claire Hunt.
Claire Hunt is also a correct answer.
Katinka Tanberg.
Katinka Tanberg has had the second most yellow cards. Correct answer.
Amanda Nilden.
Amanda Nilden is another correct answer. We're going through the whole Tottenham team here.
Yeah. No, I don't like this. Oh my God, I've just blanked on whoever plays for anyone. Let's go Toga Koga.
Koga is a correct answer. Jacob?
Natalie Bjorn.
Natalie Bjorn. The correct answer. Well done, Jacob. Izzy?
Elena Linari.
Elena Linari is...
I don't like it when Tom searches for ages. It makes me really nervous.
I'm afraid Elena Linari is an incorrect answer.
Oh no!
So, Jacob, you just need one more answer to take you home here, and you've won.
Jade Riviere.
Jade Riviere is a correct answer. Well done. Jacob takes the round. It does feel incredibly surprising that Elena Linari hasn't picked up a yellow card.
I feel like she always gets yellow cards, but
yeah, somehow she hasn't. But okay, well done, Jacob. Took that first round. Let me
Can
see.
I
So the
ask a
next,
question? Was
yeah, far
Katie
away.
McCabe on that list?
She
I
was
was
not. She was not on that list.
Right.
Interestingly enough,
Settle
that was
the
a very
haters.
so yeah. Yeah, honestly, hear this right now.
Yeah.
Hear this right now, haters. Any thoughts on who has the most so far this season? Who's at the top?
I actually have no idea.
Millie Bright has the most yellow cards this season. Okay, moving on. Jacob, would you like the FA Cup or Football Manager?
Well, I have also been an assistant researcher for Football Manager, so I'll go with Football Manager in the hope that I can win.
Great.
Sorry about this, Izzy.
I should have been
We've had a
playing
few
Football
errors.
Manager this week. Instead, I was playing Subway Builder. So if you ask me about the Boston Metro, and maybe I'll win something.
Next, know your Metro round. We'll
Yeah.
know your Subway round. We'll be on
Thank
that
you.
one. Okay, so we're looking for any WSL player who has over 16 pace on Football Manager 2026. So what that means is every player on Football Manager is ranked with an ability out of 20. So 20 is the best it can possibly be. 0 is the worst. 20 is extremely fast. 0 is not very fast at all. So any player who has 16 pace on Football Manager or more. Jacob.
Lauren Hemp.
Lauren Hemp is a correct answer. Is he?
Alessia Russo.
Alessia Russo. I'm afraid Alessia Russo is an incorrect answer, I'm sorry to say.
Can I contest this with Jacob, as he's an assistant researcher for Football Manager?
I'm an assistant researcher for Spurs. If you want to speak about Arsenal, I'm sure you can have words with Sam.
I will be having beef with Sam, Mr. Statorino, after this podcast.
Well, well done, Jacob. You've taken this particular game of Know Your Stat. Fastest player in the WSL is Alyssa Thompson. She's got 19 pace. A couple of other names you could have had: Ebony Salmon, Sandy Baltimore, Jess Naz, Lily Murphy, Carolyn, Fionn Morgan, Joanna Ritten-Canard, Kiko Seke, Ellie Carpenter, Aggie Beaver-Jones, Freya Godfrey, Vivian Assay, Sani Francie, Lauren James, Melis Mpome, Jade Riviere, Tony Payne, Rachel McLaughlin, Melvin Mallard, and Graske Oro as well would have been correct answers. That's all the players who are above 16. So it was a pretty thin field, and I can't imagine that Russo was too far off there.
In fairness, I don't think I would have said any of those people.
That's more than fair. Okay, well, fair enough. You saved us a lot of time then,
Yes.
Izzy.
You're welcome, listener.
Okay, we'll do the final round anyway for
my pride.
For the listeners' benefit. Yeah, for your pride, yes, also. So it's on the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Izzy, you can go first on this one. The Women's FA Cup first round kicked off this weekend with big wins for Middlesbrough, Leeds, and Bournemouth, who are all in the hat for the second round, which is actually, the draw is on now, so it will have probably been on by the time you listen to this. This is a question not on that first round. You'll probably both be relieved to hear. It's on the FA Cup final in 2019, which included two sides that face each other this weekend. It was West Ham in their first ever FA Cup final up against Manchester City. I'm looking for any player who was in the matchday squad for either side. So Manchester City or West Ham, either side.
I go first, yeah?
Yeah.
Yui Hasegawa.
Yui Hasegawa is
I don't like this, Tom.
Give me just 1 second there.
There's an awful lot of silence coming from you.
I'm afraid Yui Hasegawa is an incorrect answer. You're on an extremely unlucky streak here, but Yui Hasegawa is incorrect, I'm afraid. That means a correct answer here from you, Jacob, and you take the clean sweep.
Steph Houghton.
Steph Houghton is a correct answer. So there we go. 3-0, Jacob. Well done. Well done. I think that puts you level at the top of the leaderboard.
I think I may have away with it a bit because I didn't have many more answers for that one or the FM one, so I think I've got away with it a bit.
I think you were very unlucky in the Hasegawa one. You kind of covered both bases if you didn't know when she left. But yeah, I was surprised. I thought you were going to say Gilly Flaherty, which would have been a correct.
Oh no, I got my answers muddled.
Other kind of big names maybe that you could have said: Anna Morehouse, Claire Rafferty, Rhea Percival, Kate Longhurst, Adriana Leon, Alicia Lehman, Rebecca Spencer, Leanne Kiernan. For West Ham. For Manchester City, there's Claire Emsley, Megan Campbell, Lauren Hemp, Janine Becky, Gemma Bonner, Ellie Roebuck, Georgia Stanway, Nikita Paris, Tessa Vollart, Caroline Weir, Kira Walsh, Jill Scott, Demi Stokes, Jen Beattie, Steph Houghton, Abby McManus, and Karen Barnsley as well.
Wow.
So there we go. Well done, Jacob. Big win. Another one to add to your tally. So yeah, I've kept you both for a very long time, longer than I was anticipating.
It would have been a lot longer, Tom, if I knew any answers.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I appreciate you for helping me to keep some time on this podcast.
It was all for that reason.
I appreciate it, Izzy. I really do. Well, and I appreciate you, listener. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and thank you, Jacob, as well. Okay, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with a review and a preview of the WSL. See you in the next one.